So in this video, I'm going to take you with me as I do a market in Lititz, PA. Walter and I are waking up really early in the morning at like 4:30 a.m. because it's an hour and a half away and the event starts at 8 a.m. So we'll see how this goes. So in this portion of the video, I am putting together my Genesis notepads. I designed every single sleeve that you see around my notepads, and so I'm just prepping and putting them around all the notepads. But on this same day, I was really excited because I received a huge order, probably the largest order to date, from a company. They're actually a Christian camp based in New York, and they were having a celebration to celebrate the staff, and they hire amazing Christian women for this camp, and so they wanted to give them gifts that would just encourage them and bless them. And I was really honored because they decided to work with me on giving them these prints. So I prepared the Live Quietly block print, Abide in Me, Be Still My Soul, all very beautiful prints that point to the Lord. And here I have my new bookmark that I'm also prepping. I like to call it the flower bed because of all the patches. And now we have the day of the market. We woke up bright and early at 4:30 a.m. and so now we're getting ready to go. All right, guys. Walter and I just woke up. It is 5:22 a.m. and we're about to set out to the craft fair. So here we go. By the time we got there, we saw that there were already so many vendors setting up. We felt like we were probably one of the last ones to set up. We got there at 6:30 a.m. and we just started putting together our displays. So we have 2 big print stands and also a checkout counter that requires some assembly. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. At this point, we have it all down since we've been doing markets for a year. So here's my stationery table, my prints, as well as the checkout. Ready, Walter? a market. Thank you so much for coming along with me. In this section of the video, we're going to do a little bit of a market recap to just talk through some of my reflections after the event. So the event actually happened on Saturday and today is Monday, and Walter and I are fully recovered. At the end of Saturday, we ended up sleeping very early that night, and Sunday was just a day of rest for us, and then Monday is today, and now I'm ready to just talk about the market. So let's do it. So first things first, would I do this market again? And the answer to that is yes, I definitely will. I know that some of it is luck because the weather was absolutely perfect that day. We've had a very hot summer, but that day was absolutely gorgeous. We had a breeze coming in, but it never blew off any of my prints. The morning setup was very easy, only because it was nice and cool, but not uncomfortable. So it was literally the best day, not just for me as a vendor, but also for the attendees. So second, let's talk about sales and some of my best sellers. So I sold out on a few items. Most of them were prints. So I sold out on Amazing Grace, It Is Well With My Soul, and In the Garden. So those three prints were my most popular products at this event. What surprised me was that I was expecting my tea towels to go off like hotcakes, but it didn't. And the reason why I thought that was because in my last market, tea towels were the ones that flew off the shelves. I was honestly really surprised by how much people love tea towels, but I guess it's a different crowd and that's totally fine. I also really love my art prints, and that is the main thing that I like to sell anyway, so it makes sense. Part of me thinks that it's probably because in my previous market I had a setup so that my tea towels were displayed upright rather than just displayed like on a table. And so part of me thinks that it might have had something to do with how it's displayed. So that's something to think about for next time. For the third one, I wanted to go over foot traffic. This event drew in 700 vendors. It's actually one of the biggest art fairs in the East Coast. So it gets vendors from Canada and all throughout the East Coast. And because it's such a big event and it's been going on for several years now, people know to expect it. People are ready for it. People have actually come with their shopping carts. You know, those ladies who go to grocery stores with their little carts? People had those and they were ready to go shopping. So that was great. People were in a chatty mood. I think everyone was just really happy about the weather, and a good amount of people browsed. So overall, in terms of foot traffic, it was perfect. A couple of memorable interactions that I had. One of them, Mary Lena, actually found me because I put it in my newsletter that I was going to be at this event, and she lives in Lititz, and so she looked for me for a while, and because there were so many vendors, and when she finally found me, she gave me a gift, which I'll show you here. It came in this little bag. Her business is called Margray, and she made me this puppy eyeglasses holder. And I think what I would do is I would just rest my eyeglasses on it. It's super cute. She's very talented. Thank you so much, Marilena, if you're watching this. Another thing I was excited by is that some of our college friends came by to support us. Our friends Kat and Grant and their two sweet little girls came by. It was the most adorable thing. They were in one of those wagons that you could just pull around, and it was just really sweet to see them. They're really good friends from our church ministry back when Walter and I were in college, and they were really kind to offer their Airbnb for us to stay in for next year's event, which honestly, we may take you up on that because the drive at 5 a.m. in the morning was not fun. And so yes, you'll be seeing more of us, Kat and Grant. Another person who stopped by our booth was a guy named Bryce, and it was just so lovely to talk to him. We talked about his time in Thailand. So he was a missionary kid who lived in Thailand for about 8 years, and it was just really refreshing to just talk to people, other believers who are doing great work elsewhere. And so now he's based in, I believe it's York, and I learned that he likes to do carpentry for fun. So that was really cool. It's always great to be able to interact with customers, and he was very chatty, and it was great talking to him and getting to know him a little bit. And we also came across this girl Gabby, who she told me that she's been following me on Instagram for a while, and they weren't expecting me to see me there, but she was surprised, and she was with her parents, and it was really sweet to get to know her, talk to her a little bit. And I learned that she works for a campus ministry in Philadelphia, so that's really cool. It's such a small world, you know, because there are some people in my church who know her, and it just reminds me that this world, it's tiny. So something else that we should cover is my booth setup and also logistics. So in terms of getting all my stuff there, everything was great. We didn't forget anything, thank goodness. We had one market that happened a while back where I forgot my bin full of prints, and majority of what I sell are prints. So I had to ask my husband Walter to drive 40 minutes back home and drive all the way back, and he made it probably like 5 minutes before the event actually started. So we never want that to happen ever again. So after that event, we created this Google Doc that has all of our packing supplies in it. So it's our packing list. We reference it every time we do a market. We print a new one each time because each market's always a little bit different. We may bring some stuff and not others. And speaking of which, I brought a lot of my stuff from my Psalm 23 collection, but because of how big my tent is, I only have a 10-foot by 10-foot space. I actually couldn't fit all of my products in that space, and so I wasn't able to display some of my items pretty well. Like, for example, I have my theology books hat, I have my lamb cap, I also have my Psalm 23 tote bag. I couldn't really display all of them because of just how small my booth was, but that's totally fine. I didn't expect everything to fit in there anyway. So something else that I wanted to display but didn't get to were these pennants. So I have these super cute pennants that I wanted to hang up in front, but here's the thing, we didn't plan on hanging these up before the event. It was kind of a last minute throw on, you know, and we didn't really have the right materials. We were also not in the right headspace to do so because the event was supposed to start at 8 a.m. and people were already shopping at 7:30. And so it was the least of our concerns to get this up there. But I would love to hang this up at some point because the colors on these are just so pretty. So something else that we changed about our booth layout is that typically our booth has 2 print stands on either side, on the left and on the right side, and in the middle I have my checkout counter as well as a 4-foot table. So something that we noticed in previous markets is that people tend to zoom as they're walking. They don't stop and pause and look. And so we were trying to figure out how can we attract people so that they pause, or at least, you know, stop people in their tracks and not have them just zoom past me. And something that we changed is we moved the 4-foot table up front in, I want to say, the left-hand side, and then we moved that print stand back. So people kind of have to go in one way and then move around the booth in order to see everything. And we did notice that people tend to stop a bit more once they see my stationery up front. So I don't know if if it's because people enjoy stationery more than they do prints or what, but we've noticed that people tend to stop and linger a little bit more when they see my stationery, so that's good. So one of the reasons why we love doing art markets and really just attending them is because we love looking at people's setups. Vendors can get really creative in how they set up their booths, whether it's with their displays or what they hang on to their tents. There's so many ways to get creative with the booth. I like to see the booth as like a shop front, and there's so many ways to improve it. And so, like I said, with how we set up our booth, we're constantly trying to improve it, see how we can make it better each time. And so it was just really sweet to be able to walk through some of the booths to see what's working, what's not. But honestly, I didn't even get the time to go through the whole stretch because there are 700 vendors. It kept on going. And in the last hour, Walter took the booth and gave me the freedom to just like walk around and meet people. And so I walked for a good portion of the stretch, but I didn't even reach the end. It kept on going and I didn't have enough time. So I had to turn around. At some point, Walter got us breakfast and coffee, and for him to get to the coffee place, it was 15 minutes away by foot. And that whole 15-minute walk, there were still booths. So it just kept going. And so I was able to meet a few of the vendors who were there. Key Street Creations was there, and I bought one of their book sleeves a while back, and I love this thing. For those of you who don't know, this is not my full-time job. I work in Center City in Philadelphia, and I like to read on the train, and so I put my books in here and throw it in my backpack so that it doesn't get all dog-eared as I walk around. So I love this thing. She was really sweet. She responded to my newsletter and let me know that she was also going to be at this event. So I went by to say hi, and I met her best friend, Ganelle, so that was really sweet too. And I want to show you my haul. So one of the people that I visited, her name is Hannah, and she is the artist behind Owl Feather Watercolors. And she's so sweet. She told me that she's been following me for a while, and she was really excited to see me. And I ended up getting a few items from her. I got this super cute library card and also these two stickers. That one and this one. And my hope is that I would take this library card and put it on my Psalm 23 tote bag. I think that's going to look super cute. But she was so sweet. It was really great talking to her. And it was just really sweet getting to talk to Hannah. She has been running her business for about, I want to say 10 years. And her stuff is just lovely. A lot of them are pretty much just her watercolor. She had a double booth, which was exciting. And yeah, a lot of her stuff is very whimsical and very adorable. All right, so the other thing that I got was I stopped by Mixtape Paper Co. And I just really love this pattern. I think it's beautiful. These are this is wrapping paper, and I also got washi tape from her that have similar patterns. And she even dropped in a little card for me, which was super sweet. So in terms of the lessons that I've learned, the market day was absolutely perfect in terms of foot traffic, in terms of weather. Something that is new to me is YouTube and setting up the camera, so I feel like I learned a lot. I realized I didn't even have a camera bag for this camera when when I went to this event, so that was something for me to think of, especially for the Sing conference. So overall, I'm just really grateful for everybody who stopped by. If you were there that day, thank you so much for coming and for stopping by. I had so much fun. We would definitely do it again. And overall, I'm just really grateful to have done this market. I had so much fun. Walter was really comfortable. Multiple times throughout the day, I tried to get a picture of him because at one point he was so comfortable in our camping chairs that he looked like he was about to fall asleep, but every single time he kept catching me, so I didn't get a picture. But all that to say, it was the perfect day. Great weather, great people, great products, and we loved it. And so we're just really thankful. Thankful for the Lord for keeping us nice and cool, and just for the people. We love meeting you guys. It's always really refreshing to see how people interact with my artwork in person. It's nice to sell my stuff online and to share my stuff on social media, but there's something different about seeing people's actual reactions as they're walking by or as they hold the artwork. So it tells me a lot, and it's very refreshing. And I just love seeing how people interact with the pieces in person. So it's not uncommon for me to see people start crying once they see some of my hand paintings, because it reminds them of certain people in their life, of their spouses, of their grandparents, of just loved ones. And so it's just really sweet, and I love that they could share that moment with me. So very thankful. That being said, if you've enjoyed coming along today, I'd love to invite you to stick around. I share a lot of behind the scenes from my life as a Christian artist, from painting to doing events just like this one. So hit the subscribe button so that we can keep creating together, and I hope I see you next time.